Louisville in the Dome coming up this weekend. Just 3 games left and just 2 wins needed for bowl eligibility. Welcome into Cuse Countdown with Corey Crockett and Russ Reed. I'm Ben Fontana. Guys, 9th-ranked Louisville crashes the party this weekend at the Dome. How scared should SU legitimately be?
Legitimately, I don't think their offense should be as scared as much as their defense. Louisville, they have a good athletic defense, but they're in the middle of the pack when it comes to numbers and, scoring defense. But their offense is tremendous. They've got numbers everywhere from quarterback to running back to wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't think they should be scared as so much as prepared. Fans should be prepared, too. This isn't going to be an easy win by any stretch.
Hey, that's looking at the glass half full, so I like that, Corey. So not only is it a big matchup for SU, but it's also senior day and homecoming. So many faces will be missed next season for the Orange. 8 starters to be exact. This full list shows over a dozen seniors set to depart the Hill. Ryan Nassib, the only name on this list that's an exception. He's already been through commencement and walked in May. He actually already graduated from the Whitman Business School last year with a 4.0 GPA. So as we welcome back Russ and Corey back to the CC desk, guys, these seniors have made a huge impact. They've won one bowl, the Pinstripe Bowl, way back in 2010, but they've also made a pretty big impact.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to forget, too, sometimes, guys, that Ryan Nassib's been here for 3 years now. And, you think, he's had some struggles, he's had his times, he's had his moments. But you think about it, the number that sticks out to me is 8 fourth-quarter comebacks. I mean, that's tremendous for any quarterback across any level, and I think it shows the character of a football player.
Absolutely. Nassib has improved by leaps and bounds, especially this season. Earlier on I questioned his judgment in his first couple of years. Didn't really do what he needed to do, especially in long yardage. But this year, he's really been more poised in the pocket and is putting up big numbers. Don't forget a guy in the defense like Brandon Sharp. Kind of goes under the radar. Had a huge game against Pittsburgh with 4 sacks.
Oh, absolutely. And how about Shamarko Thomas? He's been a leader in the secondary pretty much his whole career at SU, going back to his freshman year. And, he's the linchpin of that secondary now, and the one guy who's always been solid. And to see him go is kind of a scary thought, especially for the SU defensive backs and D coordinator Scott Schaefer.
And he's got a real emotional story to go along with this.
Yeah, I was going to say, emotional. These guys are all leaders, no matter who you look at. Everyone's probably going to be missed. So now let's sneak a peek at what's at stake this Saturday between Syracuse and Louisville. Of course, it's senior day, as we've been talking about, and this group of seniors has actually never beaten the Cardinals. But on top of that, junior tailback Jerome Smith looks to keep his legs churning on the ground with another 100-yard game, while the Cuse hopes to get 1 win closer to bowl eligibility. And now it's time to break it down a little further and dive into the Cuse Countdown Casino. In the past couple weeks, guys, this Cuse Countdown run defense has been kind of ripped up, to say the least. Against Cincinnati, they allowed George Wynn to rush for 3 touchdowns. So what are the chances that SU gives up over 200 yards rushing this Saturday?
I'm going to go 65% here right off the bat. I know it seems sort of like an arbitrary number, but, SU's gotten shredded in the past 2 weeks, and they've got some quality running backs over there at Louisville, and Sonoris Perry and Jeremy Wright. I think the only thing that, that keeps this from being like an 85% for me is Teddy Bridgewater. Even though he's an athletic quarterback, he doesn't like to scramble much. He likes to stay in the pocket, look downfield for his receivers, and he only scrambles when he has to.
I agree. I'm going to go with 75% here, and I think one of the biggest things is that Perry and Wright are splitting so many carries, and they're both really explosive runners. So when you look at those 2 guys separately, fresh legs, 2 really solid starting running backs can get that done.
And actually, that's only like half of what Louisville can do on offense. They've also got a pretty good wide receiver. His name is Devontae Parker. He averages over 20 yards a catch this season. What are the odds that he gets 2 touchdowns against Syracuse?
The odds here, I think they're pretty low, actually, in my estimation. SU hasn't allowed multiple touchdowns to wide receiver all year, except for Marquise Lee, who's an All-America player at USC, All-America wide receiver, and he's going to be playing on Sundays in the NFL. So, I think SU, even though they've struggled in giving up yards to guys like Devin Street, they've kept them out of the end zone. That's what impressed me the most about this SU secondary.
Yeah, if I'm going to go over-under here, I actually have to push. I think 2 touchdowns is pretty accurate for what Parker can do. He had two touchdowns against Cincinnati, and there won't get lots of receptions deep, but he's a good threat in the end zone.
All right, well, let's play over-under one more time, but let's switch it over to the SU side of the ball. Jerome Smith, already 3 straight games with 100 yards, guys, so over-under that he gets that number again.
I'm going to go with over. I think Jerome Smith has finally, figured it out. Everything's starting to click. He was a downhill runner to begin with, but I think he's finally got that purpose now. I can see a physical difference in him. He's hitting the hole a lot harder. He's trusting his blocks. And I think that you have to give credit to the offensive line that's come together now that Justin Pugh's back and now that Rob Trudeau's in at right guard. This offensive line has gelled really well in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. In the last couple of weeks, he's been able to break that 100 barrier, but I'm going to go under because the Louisville defense is going to be so difficult for him to break. And at the same time, Maroon has so many threats at the running back position that it's really running back by committee. I think the whole team really has a great chance.
It's going to be a great matchup, guys. I mean, it sounds like SU might be a little overmatched, but we'll have to see. So maybe they are overmatched, but give me an X factor. What could make the difference in this game against Louisville?
Believe it or not, guys, my X factor is Beckett Wales. And you say, you know, why Beckett Wales? I think Louisville's got two great safeties in Akeem Smith and Calvin Pryor. And I think a big key to, you know, exposing this Louisville defense is getting Beckett Wales, you know, short, involved in the passing games, making those safeties cheat up a little bit if Louisville's going to man coverage. And, you know, maybe breaking one down the seam for Beckett Wales. I know his hands aren't that reliable. He's going to have to show more reliability in this game for the Orange to succeed.
My X factor is going to be penalties. Syracuse is in such a rut with a huge penalty problem. In fact, against Cincinnati, 12 flags for 104 yards, and it's been going that way for the last few games. I think it's not going to be a factor of who's going to win the game or not, but if SU can control their penalty problem, it's going to give them a shot.
Well, speaking of who will win the game, everyone wants to know, guys, who you got in this one?
I've got Louisville 38-21. I think it's just too much offensive firepower. I think SU can crack their defense a little bit, but the biggest thing to me with Louisville, you know, not only are they explosive, but they've got the best third down conversion percentage in the Big East, and they're also #1 in time of possession. And I think those are two telling figures for an offensive team.
Yeah, I'm going to go Louisville 27-17. I think this is just too difficult of a team. And when Syracuse is really at the middle of the road in the Big East, and it's not a tough conference, you know, by any stretch, but still, Louisville's just a good football team, and I don't think it's going to work out for the Orange.
Well, Corey, you have that as a 4-point game, so you think SU hangs in there for a little bit?
27-17.
Oh, so 10 points.
10 points.
So I'm deaf of hearing. So, anyway, SU and 9th-ranked Louisville at the Dome. Homecoming, senior day, lots of emotions, but trust us, it'll be a good one, guys, all right? So remember, at CitrusTV Sports on Twitter for all the latest. And that's all the time we have here on Countdown. For my analysts, Corey Crockett and Russ Reed, I'm Ben Fontana, and enjoy the game, Syracuse.